morning. Welcome back to Repose. Today we're going to work on that upper body, some long stretches, yin-like stretches, meaning we're going to hold them for several minutes. So you're going to want to prepare your space. Find something that's comfortable. Make sure you have a lot of room. You're going to want some props for today's practice. We'll be seated the entire time, so you might want some blocks, a bolster, a pillow to sit on, or a blanket. I'm sitting on a rolled up blanket just to allow the pelvis to tilt, allow the knees to be comfortable, that we're not pinching anything, allowing that blood to flow, because we will be in some of these positions for a while. So take a moment, gather your space, and I'll meet you back here and seated, taking a few deep breaths and easing the mind. It is a good morning. If you needed a mantra today, and a mantra is just something that we repeat, if you are a prayerful person and you are familiar with rehearsing repetitive prayers, a mantra is a little bit like that. It's kind of just ingraining into the thought that this is so, whatever it is. So if you woke up this morning and you're feeling a little tight or groggy or cranky, or you are dreading the day ahead because there's something big, important, or challenging that you know is coming, this might be the mantra for you today, is that it is a beautiful day. Every day we rise is a day that we're given another chance, a chance to try something new, work through that new challenge. Every time that we're gifted that new day, it is in fact a beautiful day. It may be cloudy, it may be rainy, it may be cold, but we are present for it, and it is a beautiful day. I hope you found that comfortable seat at home, and this is something you could do in a chair or sitting on your couch as well, but you're just going to want to make sure there's room around you for those arms to spread and reach behind you, and that can be the limitation of a chair sometimes. We can always scooch to the edge of that chair if that is your situation today. So we're going to start subtly by just bringing those arms out to the side, nice and wide. Spread those fingers out wide with the palms up towards the ceiling. Soften the face. Keep breathing in this beautiful day. Slow exhales through the nose. On your next exhale, you're going to bring those fingers in towards the shoulders. Keep the elbows out towards the sides, and just try to draw those shoulders and elbows open. Those fingers are soft, just tapping onto the shoulders. You don't have to keep tapping, but just that we're not squeezing or grabbing. The hands are soft here. And keep breathing. And depending on your mobility, if those elbows can't quite come up to shoulder height, that's okay, wherever they're at. Just that you're pressing up and you're trying to reach today's limit without pain, but it should be a little bit challenging. You're feeling a little resistance, you're feeling something stretching here. That's the goal. You're going to want to focus on the breathing, because again, we are going to be holding this for a while. So just focus on the breath in and the breath out. Check if you're tensing up. So if you're creating tension and you feel that those elbows or those shoulders are getting tighter or higher, you need to work on relaxing that again. We don't want to create tension in the neck. You will be feeling some stretching, I'm assuming, in the shoulders and the arms, maybe even the wrists here. But we're not trying to create tension up from the neck into the ears. So just try to drop those shoulders with the exhales. Inhale, feel the chest rise. Exhale, feel the chest and shoulders fall or relax. Breathe in the beautiful day. Breathe out the negative space or negative thoughts or your worries. One more deep breath in. Start to lift those elbows if they've started to get lazy, and exhale to open the arms, palms wide. Just feel the palm and fingers stretch. Another deep inhale as you press towards the sky. And exhale, slowly bring the arms all the way down. You might be feeling that little bit of burning sensation as the blood flows back. Just loosen up those shoulders, a little bit of a rotation, whatever feels good for you. They can go opposite directions or they can both go forward or back, but whatever we do, we want to create the opposite tension. So if you're rolling those shoulders forward, stop and start to rotate them back. If you're going different directions, stop and reverse it. It's about balance in yoga, so whatever we do to one side, we want to do to the other. Palms come down when you're ready. It's the same with the seat. We're just going to switch how those legs are. You could be sitting in any version of seated, so if you're just in a chair, maybe you don't have to change anything. But even if you're in a chair, just bring those feet out for a moment. Give a little bit of movement. We never want to pinch anything and create a condition where we don't have the blood flowing, where your limbs go numb or your toes go numb. Nobody likes that. Okay, so when you're ready, bringing them back in to whatever seated posture you were in. And if you remembered which leg was which, you wanted to switch that if you could remember. From here, we're going to bring both arms forward. Pressing palms open away from you as if you were pushing into the wall. Now here's the challenging part. You don't want to bring your shoulders away from your body. We want to really keep those shoulders back. We're just pressing with the palm. And again, however high you're able to reach, ideally we want to try to get the wrist as high as the shoulder, but we might have limited mobility, so wherever it's going to go is just fine. Spread the fingers, press into the palm, close the eyes and breathe. What we're really doing here is working the hands today. As much as we're exercising the arms, and you're probably feeling a stretch in the arm, especially from the wrist to the elbow, you might be feeling that deep stretch. We're spreading the fingers, that we're opening up the hands, just like we do in some of the other practices. If you've been following along with some of our other videos, we want to loosen it all up. If you have carpal tunnel, if you have arthritis, it's really important that you're doing some hand foot stretches throughout your day. It's really important for all of us, but especially those who are already having struggles. We want to keep those joints as healthy as possible. We want to maintain that mobility as long as we can. So these are the kinds of things that help with it. Unfortunately, we have to hold them for a while to really see the change happening, to really get the gain. So a lot of us want to do that, quick stretch and go on with the day, and it's just not going to give you those long-term results. So from here, if you can rotate those fingers towards the other hand, you're going to interlace the fingers here and press out. And keep breathing. Again, check in with those shoulders. We don't want to overly extend those shoulders. Try to bring them back into place. Try to keep that stretch into the hands and palms and wrists. A few more deep breaths here. I know it feels like forever. Music is really nice during these times at home. If you have some music on, something to distract the mind a little bit if the mind tends to wander. A lot of times we fall out of the postures early, especially at home when we're watching a video rather than in a room with people. Because we get distracted, we start to tell ourselves that we're bored. So just try to keep the mind neutral, relaxed, enjoying what's around you. Beautiful day. Start to bend at the elbows. You're going to bring the palms together, elbows down. Hands come to heart here. Deep breath in, slow breath out. Let the shoulders relax. Let that blood start to flow. Again, sometimes we feel the stretch the most when we're coming out of it, and we start to feel that movement and go, ah, that ache or hurt so good type of feeling. From here, just shake it out. Let those wrists be heavy. Just let it shake. Get some movement back into all the joints. We're going to bring that hand down this time. We're going to press with the opposite hand. So I'm starting with the right, left hand just presses the hand down. Now we're stretching the top of the arm, the top of the hands. And you might even pull that thumb up towards the arm. Just get a little extra stretch in the thumb, but do what's best for you, seeing how that hand feels, seeing where you're stiff or tight. Play with that for a moment. Another thing that you can do while we're holding this, especially if you have that busy mind that gets bored, is kind of come through each finger and try pulling one finger at a time towards the arm. So you're doing, in a way, the same thing. We're still pulling that hand back. You're just getting a little extra extension. I can't say that today. Extension through each of those fingers, and it keeps our mind a little bit occupied with the task here. Oh, I'm really feeling that ring finger one. How about you? And you can either keep cycling through or come back to just pressing on the top of the hand. Breathe. One more deep breath in and exhale to relax the arm down. Those shoulders are probably pretty tired from all of those holding of the arms. So just shake it out again. We're going to switch to the left side when you're ready. Left side rises, this time palms in towards the body. Right hand presses the back of the hand towards the arm. Again, try to relax the shoulders. We got to tell ourselves to check in. That mindfulness of the body and how we're moving. It's noticing when we're tensing up. And my hope for you is that you become more conscientious and aware through normal tasks throughout your day. Anything from driving to carrying groceries to typing on a keyboard, that you start to become aware of when you're tensing up, become aware of when stress and anxiety are starting to creep in through the body. So even when we don't realize we're stressed, oh, I'm not stressed out, I'm just busy. I just have a lot going on. Well, that in our body creates tension, which is it's a physical stress. So we ignore it until it's gone too long or too far and we start to experience aches and pains, migraines, different triggers. So through the practice of yoga, we become more self-aware and we become better in our daily lives with our normal tasks because of that self-awareness. So these are those subtle stretches, those boring stretches that we become really self-aware and we check back in. And again, I do it just as I'm talking to the camera. I go, oh, I'm starting to raise my shoulders as I'm thinking about what to say. Check back in, lower it down, come back to those fingers. Let's pull one finger at a time towards the arm. And just to share with you, to kind of keep you going, I'm already noticing that when I'm pulling my left hand, I don't have that same tension as in my right hand. I know that I'm right-handed. I write with that hand. I do a lot more with that hand, and it's showing up here for me in this stretch. So those are just the little things that you're noticing through some of these subtle stretches that makes, for me, I can't speak for you, makes me think, well, maybe I need to give that hand some more attention. Maybe I need to hold these stretches longer on that hand than the other one, because there's clearly something more to release, a little more tension, muscle buildup because of how we use it. And then being able to offset the exercises according to what our body needs. So take a moment and just think about how that applies to you. We'll just do one more deep breath here. And slowly exhale to release it down. And again, just work out that shoulder. Shake it out if you need to shake it out. Just helps that blood to flow. And then we're going to change our seat up a little bit so that, again, nothing's pinching or becoming uncomfortable. So extend those legs, wiggle the toes, do what you need here. I'm going to recommend stretching overhead. If you're seated, even in a chair, you can kind of bring the feet out a little bit and bow forward. Just take some tension off the back and the spine. Let the chin fall in. Try to relax those shoulders. Some of these neck stretches we're going to use a strap for. If you do not have a strap, you could use a belt. You could use a yoga mat strap. Maybe you use a strap for carrying your yoga mat. It's very similar to the strap that I'll be using. Or even a towel, like a hand towel that's not super big and bulky, but that's a good length for some of the things we'll be doing today. Few more deep breaths here. Again, we're going to hold it a little longer than some of our other classes, just to really work on reducing that tension in the neck and back. It needs some time. Take some deep breaths. Tell the shoulders to relax. Maybe you need to just let those hands fall to the floor, let gravity take over, and really try to let the chin come in further, let the head come down. Notice the back, notice where it's tight. Maybe you're feeling it between the shoulder blades. Maybe it feels like a rubber band is there. Maybe you're thinking about how a massage would feel good on that back right now. Maybe it's time to schedule one. When you're ready, nice big inhale. Walk those hands up the floor. Head comes up last. Again, maybe you're feeling that there's a little movement needed here in the shoulders. And then allow the neck to come to the right side. Real deep rotation. Inhale as the head comes back. Exhale as the head comes down. One more, and we'll switch sides. Other direction. All right, we'll meet back at that neutral spine, tall, long neck and head, and find that strap or towel, whatever you've found at home to use. And if you want to come back into a cross-legged seat, whatever you're feeling balanced or comfortable with is fine. And start by bringing that strap nice and wide. So I'm going to bring my hands a little closer together just because I want to make sure I have a nice amount of tension. If you're not able to come up as high as I can, then you might just want to start wider because maybe your arms just can't go up as high. There's a lot of length on these straps where if you're just using a hand towel, this would be one of those exceptions where maybe it doesn't work as well for you. But again, a belt, just a regular belt might be fine. So find where you're able to go. But if you have that full mobility, you want to start up a little higher like I am. And that's just to make sure you have the tension you need, and then you're going to slowly add a little bit of length. We want it to feel like your arms are just falling open, but they still have tension. So play with it until you feel that sweet spot. We're trying to draw those shoulders back, and then you're going to allow those arms to actually fall behind you slightly. And I'm not sure if you can catch it from this angle, so I'm just going to tilt a little bit. You're actually allowing the arms to fall back. We're stretching into those shoulders. You're just holding that strap for support. That tension is what's keeping you up. And just to give you something to focus on, count your breaths. About 4 more deep breaths in and out. And sometimes we think we're deep breathing, and it's really still a very shallow breath. So I'm going to describe what that breath should feel like. It should be about 4 counts if you're just counting seconds or more, but you should feel the belly fill. I know we're always trying to suck that belly in, but a real deep breath, we always reference babies. You know, when they're belly laughing, you can see that full belly rise and fall. That's a deep breath in. You should feel that belly fill. Your diaphragm is working here, and then your chest should fill. And when we fill our chest, we're sticking our chest out because it's growing, it's expanding. And then we should be able to sip in just a little more breath. It might feel like you filled up all the way to the throat and you just can't wait to let that breath back out. And hold it for a half a second or more and slowly let it out the nose. It should feel like that sigh of relief when you've been holding your breath and you didn't even realize it and you finally exhale. And the whole body relaxes and sinks on that exhale. That is a deep, full breath. These long holds are great for that. You have nothing else to focus on than that deep, deep, relaxing, rejuvenating breath in and out. One more deep breath in. Deepest breath you've had in a really long time. Slow exhale and allow the arms with that strap to slowly come forward. Let the hands open. Just set that strap or belt down and just move those fingers in and out. You've been holding tight. Deep breath, feel the shoulders and rib cage lift. Exhale, feel it all release. Palms open onto the lap. Just breathe. Maybe we let this next breath out the mouth. All right, we're going to use the strap again. So adjust your seat, take that moment of any movement you still need if you need it. And this time we're going to take that strap, or a towel does work pretty good for this one too. And we're just going to use the right hand. And again, that shoulder might not come up as high as mine. You're just going to try to get that strap over your shoulder or the towel or the belt. And that left hand is going to come behind the back. And you're just going to reach for that strap or belt. And if there's someone at home with you, if you need help getting it there, maybe they can help you for a moment. Or maybe you try this one later when someone is around if you need some assistance there. So what we're trying to do is bring your left shoulder back enough that you can pull that elbow a little bit farther in. And then the hand is reaching up as much as you can up the back towards the shoulder blades. But again, you may not have the same mobility I do, and that is perfectly fine. For a lot of people, it just looks like this, and the hand might just be at the waist. That's all right, as long as you can find that strap or towel. And then the opposite hand is holding that strap too. We're trying to lift the elbow up and the shoulder back. Again, everyone's mobility is different. So do what you're able to do, and you want to try to crawl that hand as tight as you can to the strap, getting those two hands as close together as possible, lifting that elbow and shoulder until you feel enough tension or it just can't go any further. And we're using those fingers in that strap to find the tension. Now, some of you may be able to touch fingers. You might not need the strap at all. You might be able to interlace the hands, but for most of us, that's not the case. So again, I'm going to turn around. If for you this looks like this, but you are feeling the stretch and you are feeling that pull, then you're doing enough. Okay, the goal is just to go a little bit further. Take those deep breaths. Continue to go a little bit further each day or each time that you do this activity. For me, it's much further. So it can look a lot of different ways. The idea is just that we're feeling the stretch. We're feeling the left shoulder draw back, that right elbow and shoulder draw up some amount. We're working out those ligaments. We're breaking up any connective tissue that's built up. Another nice deep breath in. You might hold this a little bit longer, but we want to get to the other side before our time is up this morning. So like always, work up to some of these. You can always do it a little bit longer on your own time. Start to release the tension from the belt. Allow that right arm to come down slowly, and then start to bring that left hand down and around. Stretch it out, walk those fingers to the sides. Try to draw those shoulders open and down. And take another nice deep breath, rising the arms overhead as much as you can, and exhaling the hands to heart center. And from here, you're going to switch sides. You're going to take that belt, if possible, in the opposite hand and just bring it over the other shoulder. When you're ready, that right shoulder draws back, right hand comes down and behind. You find that bottom part of the strap or towel. And when you're ready, that left shoulder comes back, left hand comes up towards the shoulder and looks for the strap. Adjust it in any way needed. Maybe after a few breaths, you try to go a little deeper, walking your hands towards each other on the belt or strap. And breathe. So today's class was just working on this upper body tension, working on range of motion and loosening up these shoulders. And you'll find that when you loosen up the hands and shoulders, you might find that release in the neck. So when you're doing those neck rotations, it might feel a lot different than if you hadn't worked on the hands and shoulders. Just go straight for the neck. Sometimes our tension and our discomfort is being driven from another place, and it doesn't always seem likely. Playing with yoga, playing with some of these subtle, deep stretches helps us to identify those things. Stay here as long as you like. And for today's recording, we're going to start to relax the hands, bringing that left arm down and around. Right hand finally comes out to the side. Walking the fingers out to the side, draw those shoulders back, a little bit of movement. Think cat and cow pose as you just draw the shoulders back. Maybe you let the head come up, deep breath in. Exhales you around the spine. It might feel really nice on the back. Maybe those hands come to the knees as you press back. And we return to seated or a stretched out posture. Start to relax those legs. Start to bring the movement back into your body. Deep stretch overhead. Deep breath in. Let it all out the mouth. Enjoy the rest of your beautiful day. Looking for something to always be grateful for. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.